All right, hi everybody. Welcome to Mondays with Mike. I am Mike, recording today from the Weather Center because busy day, as you can imagine. Got a lot going on here in the Weather Center. We had, every day's busy, but, morning news. We had the after show. We had, I'm recording this, and then we have our new program that if you missed, you can catch every day at 11 a.m. It is called Forecasting with Friends, and it's like our opportunity. It's usually at least two of us. It'll be me and JD, or me and Allison, and maybe occasionally Ramisha will make an appearance, but we record it before she gets in. But bottom line is, it's a 30-minute daily weather show. So we're going to have interviews, we're going to have in-depth content. Obviously, the subject of today's will be what is happening right here in the Gulf of Mexico, which is the development, most likely, of a tropical depression, maybe even a tropical storm. So let's get into it. We're going to go in-depth in the storm, exactly what's happening today, what are some of the threats that face the Houston area, and why this may be sort of a pattern that we're going to be stuck in for a while. So what we're looking at right now is what's called infrared satellite imagery. Now, infrared is, it doesn't mean that it's red. It is sometimes perceived as heat. Sometimes I think it's one of those things that like snakes can use, to hunt their prey. Infrared, they can sense heat. The satellite is looking for temperatures. It's measuring temperatures, and where it has cold temperatures, so it's not looking for hot, it's looking for cold. And where there are cold temperatures, that's where the clouds are, because the clouds are high in the sky, and it gets colder the higher up you go, about 10 degrees Celsius per kilometer. So this is a look right here at clouds across the Gulf of Mexico. Now, there are other products, like this product that I'm showing you right now has a resolution of 2 kilometers. Now, we can go down here, watch this. This is called a mesosector. It's also sometimes called a floater. And what NOAA can do with their satellite, with what's called the GOES satellites, is they can select 2 sectors. They get 2 mesosectors, and they can select an area of interest, like if there were going to be severe thunderstorms or something like that. They can select that area and focus in on it and give you half-mile resolution, which is pretty good, obviously. And I can go in here and change this color table. I don't love this color table, to be honest with you. To me, it's a little bit too bright. I can't see enough detail. So we can put it on like this. Gives it a black background. This is another one, let's see, with a black background that's a little darker. This one, I don't really like that one. And then we have this one with a black, I like this one. So what we can see with this one is we can see the definition to the clouds right here, the fact that they're bubbling up. You see them all bubbling up. So those are big cumulonimbus clouds that are over that far southern Gulf of Mexico. The water temperature is about 82 degrees, by the way. And sometimes with this visible imagery, you can see some rotations. I mean, there obviously is one right there. And by the way, where you see this line cut off, that's the area that's not in that selected area of, the floater area. Let me see, can I turn off? There we go. I'm going to turn off those cities because it was distracting, right? So here we are down in Mexico. Clearly, you can see right here that there's a rotation, right? Right there. I mean, no doubt about it. There's a rotation there. Thing is, that one's over land. So will it stay over land or will it drift a little bit to the north? We'll have to watch that. And then over here, it looks like maybe there's another circulation. Maybe that's trying to get going in this area. Don't know yet. And then we'll also have to watch sort of in this general area where there might be some wind. So whenever storms are just getting started like this, it's very chaotic. Very, very chaotic. So it's not as if we're going to have necessarily a completely clear vision of where the area of low pressure is forming, kind of until we get some investigation from the National Hurricane Center and then some concrete data. Let's see, we could also take a look at, obviously, radar. Now, there is no radar down here. There are some radars that Mexico has that are, coming out of Cancun and things like that, but we're not able to actually see with radar directly what's happening in the middle or the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico. But of course, getting a little bit closer to Houston, obviously we can. Here's the bigger picture, which I know it doesn't look like much, right? So this is late this morning, but I want to show you what it's expected to look like. We're going to see this sort of off and on through the day today. Numerous showers and storms just coming in here off the Gulf of Mexico repeatedly. And we'll have this tomorrow as well. There's just a lot of moisture in place, and we get a little bit of daytime heating. It is getting hot out there. We're going to have highs close to 90 in between the rain, and then if you get stuck under one of the downpours, it might go down to 83, 84 for a while. So, and we do have, let's see, we have some lightning too. I mean, this is as of late this morning, and it should get more widespread heading into the afternoon. So let's take a look at a few things. And by the way, this is the first potential tropical system we've had. We have not, here we're now 17 days deep into June, and this is the latest start to a hurricane season we've had over the last decade. These previous years, we've had lots of years where storms form in May, and then if they didn't form in May, then they formed right at the beginning of June. So in this case, we've made it now almost 3 weeks in, and we haven't had a storm just yet. But that may change, of course, later on today. So let's take a look at that. This is the Fox model. Now, the Fox model is exclusive to us. It was put together by our meteorologist, Jim Weber, who is out of Tampa. And it's not as if they build this from scratch. There's a weather model called the WRF, which is the Weather Research and Forecasting Model. And it was put together in such a way that, like, universities, like let's say you are a weather nut and you decided to go to graduate school, and you want to study Houston downpours or something. You can use that WRF model and manipulate it to make it specific to a local area, so that maybe you can experiment and do different things about how to get it to best perform in your area. And so initially, this model was used to predict summertime thunderstorms in central Florida. But it's since expanded, and now we have a coast-to-coast USA view, and then we also have a wide tropical view. So this is a look at that tropical view. And this is, let's see, we're pausing the action here on Wednesday morning. So you can see here that on Wednesday morning we have rain stretching from down here. This is like South Padre Island and northern parts of Mexico, Corpus Christi, heavy rain here, possible in the Houston area. And then progressing through the day on Wednesday, it moves out toward the west and brings the threat for flooding to northern parts of Mexico, also brings flooding to an area from San Antonio and Austin southward. And even though it looks like we're in the clear here, I'm just concerned that there may be a little bit more activity forming behind it. You can't really rule that out, although this Fox model is really not showing it. So hopefully we're in the clear by Thursday, but I'm not completely convinced of that just yet. So we have this deep tropical moisture in place. What does that mean? What does it mean, deep tropical moisture? Well, sometimes you have a lot of humidity just in the bottom part of the atmosphere, and then the top part isn't that humid. And you can get thunderstorms like that, definitely. But they'll be sort of shorter lived. But in this case, coming in from the tropics, you get this deep layer moisture. And if you've been to the tropics, let's say you're on vacation at any island, basically, it rains just about every day, especially in the middle of the island, like it happens in Jamaica all the time. So you could look at it that way, is that you're almost transitioning to like a tropical island kind of atmosphere. The only thing is it means some training thunderstorms and heavy thunderstorms are possible. So a depression or a storm could be forming in the Gulf of Mexico here over the next few days. And what's the difference? What does that mean? Well,
all right, I'll put it in.
If the hurricane hunters find that there's a closed circulation, a complete counterclockwise circulation, not just a wave, because if the winds just go up and down, that's called a wave, or it could be called a trough, or in the case of the Gulf of Mexico, sometimes it's what's called an inverted trough, so it's like going from south to north into an area of high pressure. If the winds are 40 miles per hour or higher, then it gets a name, Alberto. That's the first name on the list this year, Tropical Storm Alberto. And it's very likely that that would be moving to the west into Mexico. So even if it does, we're still looking for heavy rain here because of that deep tropical moisture I mentioned. You could even call it a plume that's going to be coming off the Gulf. So 5 to 10 inches of rain, I think, is definitely possible. 5 inches of rain, definitely possible. Up to 10 inches of rain, maybe even more, along our coastal counties and then especially to the south. So the highest chance for that would be Matagorda, maybe even Lake Jackson. Can't even rule out maybe southern Fort Bend County or Wharton County for areas that would be, favored for seeing some of the heavier rain. As far as the outlook for flooding, this is the outlook for the rest of the day today, and this is not me. This comes from the National the National Weather Service Weather Prediction Center, and they've highlighted this whole area from Houston and Galveston all the way back over to New Orleans, Gulfport, Mobile, as an area that's at a slight risk for seeing excessive rain today, which is also a flash flood risk. Now tomorrow, it expands and covers the Texas coastline, but even gets more urgent, more severe, more of a concern as it enters that moderate category. And by the way, the Weather Service uses this terminology, like moderate means actually pretty serious. Even if you're in marginal, which is that MARG, that's a concern even. So whenever we end up in the yellow, that's usually a concern. It's not often that we end up in the red, honestly. And so in this case, it means there's a pretty high probability that we'll get in on some flooding, at a minimum some street flooding, as we head into the day tomorrow. I also wanted to let you know it is going to start getting pretty windy. So definitely dangerous boating conditions. In fact, down here, you see this bright spot there on Galveston Bay. So that's going to be high wind conditions around Galveston Bay, small craft advisory. Wind speeds across the area heading into the afternoon, anywhere between about 10 and 20 miles per hour, but it will get kind of gusty along the coastline, and that would favor the potential for rip currents. So let's not have any more tragedies. Really, nobody needs to be swimming in the Gulf of Mexico today, and even more so tomorrow or Wednesday. It's just not going to be a good idea at all. Here's a map that shows us approximate rainfall totals. Now keep in mind, rain is never distributed like the same everywhere, right? I mean, some neighborhoods get slammed and some don't. But in general, it looks like areas north of Houston could get maybe 3 inches of rain, maybe as many as 4 to 5 in a couple of isolated spots, but probably closer to about 3. Greater Houston area, probably closer to about 5, maybe a little bit more. And then from the coastal areas, and then especially down to Brazoria, Matagorda, that's what we're looking at, maybe 8, 10, 11 inches, maybe even more than that as we head into the day, especially on late Tuesday and into early in the day on Wednesday. Definitely becomes much more of a concern. Let's take a look at a couple of other computer models here. So this Futurecast is going to show us the, I believe this is our HRRR model, and that shows some rain reappearing here Tuesday at 2 p.m. and then notice just pretty much raining for most of the day on Tuesday, and then we're pausing the action here on Wednesday at 11:30. So that may be one of the times really when we're at the biggest risk for seeing some rain. All right, switching now. Let's just reiterate this again. Here's a close-up view of the successive rainfall outlook, which is the threat for flooding. So this is today, showing a slight risk from Sealy westward, a little bit better risk of some scattered areas of downpours causing some street flooding, even from Sugar Land and Missouri City, back across to League City, Dickinson, Channelview, and Kingwood. And then looking ahead at time for tomorrow, then we start to get into Houston, Alvin, Pearland, Sugar Land, Texas City, and all these spots at a higher risk for seeing flooding. In fact, we're in that 40% or numerous category. So that means there's about a 40% chance, give or take, let's just say any county. That's approximately the size they're talking about a 40% chance. And then moving on to Wednesday, same. So Houston will actually be under the gun potentially, and then especially Galveston and Angleton and Wharton and you guys for 2 days, for Tuesday and for Wednesday. So for the day today, it's going to be warm, it's going to be breezy, we'll have some scattered downpours at times, taking us into the late afternoon. We'll get a couple of breaks, definitely. We'll get a couple of breaks here and there. And then heading into tomorrow, this particular model shows us kind of calming down for a while. Remember that last one I just showed you, which was the HRRR, was showing us getting rainy at across the area by around 2 p.m. tomorrow. This one's holding off till 3 and showing less coverage, but still some intense rain. And then it all starts to move in here as we head toward Tuesday night. As far as the forecast is concerned, here's what we've got lined up for you. So today, you're going to be dodging showers and thunderstorms for most of the day. They're moving pretty fast, but they will be heavy at times. And it's going to get hot and humid, up to around, pretty close to 90 today. We did use our Fox 26 Storm Alert Day for tomorrow and for Wednesday, which is the Juneteenth holiday, to let you know that there's a little bit more of a weather impact on those days. By the way, Thursday is the summer solstice, which is the first day of summer. So, although that really doesn't mean anything other than the fact that it's the longest amount of daylight of the year. So we will we'll continue to hope for some clearing skies after that. So back on camera here. If you ever have any questions, we'd love to hear from you for our Forecasting with Friends segment. If you've let me know on my Facebook page. In fact, I think now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to post a link. I'm going to pin a link to the top of the page for anybody who might have questions for me or for Allison or for JD for Forecasting with Friends, which comes on at 11 a.m. on Fox Local. You can also go back and watch it on YouTube. It does post on YouTube. But we'd love to be able to interact with you a little bit more, maybe answer some questions or something that's just been, you've wanted to know the answer to for a long time, or maybe there's just something that you need specific information to your area that maybe you haven't found. And so you'd like to ask us those questions, and that's great. We would love to help you out. As far as what you should do to prepare, this is definitely not freak out time, right? I mean, we're not looking for the direct hit of a huge windstorm. It's going to be off and on heavy rain. I would say prepare, I would go to the grocery store and get ready just in case you couldn't leave your house for a couple of days. Let's just say it's worst case scenario, 2 days, somehow the roads get blocked to your neighborhood, or maybe the weather's sufficiently bad that it's just not safe for you to travel out on the roadways. You need to make sure you have groceries, you have to have stuff for the kids to do, if God forbid the power goes out. So just those kind of things are what you need to plan for with this particular system. What's interesting is, in fact, let me go back here. I wanted to show you the Fox model again, because what was interesting, or maybe it was the GFS I wanted to show you, because what was interesting was it was showing another low developing next week, sort of lingering in the same spot as this one. So let me find the right model. I have so many models at my disposal. Here we go. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. So this is Monday, and so we put this ahead in time, and here we are Tuesday afternoon, and then this is the latest run for early Wednesday morning, where it's showing some of the heaviest of the rain moving on shore. And now we'll put this ahead in time, so now here's late Wednesday, and now into the day on Thursday. And now look what happens here on Friday, even on Saturday, excuse me. There is actually, it looks like right around there, there's an area of low pressure. You can see those arrows going around it. And this is sort of the same general area. So it may be, and this does happen sometimes, that you just have this mess that's just brewing down there, and you end up with a little area of low pressure, or either a little tropical storm or a little tropical depression, and then that one spins off, but it stays kind of unsettled down there over Central America and over the Bay of Campeche, and maybe you end up with another storm. Although in this case, it also doesn't look like it would be coming straight at us. But it may kind of keep things a little bit unsettled down there for a while. So we have a lot of ways now to keep you informed. We have, look, we're on all the time. We are on from 4 to 10 a.m. When there's going to be any hazardous weather, you could watch us on the after show, Monday through Friday from 10 to 10:30. We're going to be doing our weather show, Forecasting with Friends, from 11 to 11:30. You'll find either me, JD, or Allison on Fox 26 News at noon. And then we have a tropical update that's going to be done each day, either by Ramisha Shade, by JD, or I think probably sometimes by Allison. Most of the time it's not me, unless we have a really a type of storm where we're doing multiple updates in a day. But you'll be able to find that on Fox Local, and also that's posted to YouTube as well, Tropical Update. And then, of course, we have all of our newscasts at night. So it's like we're always on. We're just always on. So I'm going to post, pinned to the top of my Facebook page, look for Fox 26 Mike Iscovitz. You don't have to spell my last name. Just put Fox 26 Mike, and it'll pop up on Facebook. And you can leave some comments there, and we'll periodically go through and try to answer those questions on Forecasting with Friends at 11 a.m. And I also, let me know what you think of the theme song. I'm not sold on it. I mean, it's starting to grow on me, but I'm not sold on the theme song yet. You're going to have to listen to it to see what I'm talking about. So anyway, so I hope everybody's doing well. Happy belated Father's Day to all the dads out there. And thank you for my gifts to my mom and my brother. And hope you guys are doing well. And I want to thank you so much, everybody, for joining me for Mondays with Mike today. And good luck with all this rain. Try to get to the store and pick up a couple of days of supplies just to make sure you are ready for whatever Mother Nature has coming our way.